Welcome to Breaking Fears.
Well, hello everyone. It's a beautiful day today. Actually, no, it's cold. But anyway, another day, another video. Another video on Black History because again, it's Black History Month. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to show some individuals that you may not have heard of, and maybe some of you have, that are into the history of African Americans here and what they've done here in the, America, which is not written in the history books. When I was growing up, I did not, there was no really barely any talks or history lessons about African American history, what they did. It was always about the slave trade. And then they would talk about the Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Yes, big history figures. But there are also more big history figures. Those that invented things before anyone. Those that started the process of invention, but no one mentioned them. Some other people took it over. Alexander Bell taking over stuff about that. I can't even. I'm drawing a blank. But the guy with the electricity for electric stuff, things of that nature. None of it was accredited to the person who really came up with the invention. The Wright brothers. There was an African American that, and I'll show this in these history clips, that created flight before the Wright brothers. Never mentioned in the history books, at least when I was growing up. So I hope these little short lessons that I'm putting out here, as I'm finding out about some of them myself, I just want to put this out here like others are doing. And you could see it on YouTube. Others are doing the same thing. And just give a history on them. Let their names be heard. Let people know that in American history books, some of the people that are in there for the history of the inventions shouldn't be in there. These individuals should be. So with that being said, and with us knowing that because of slavery and, again, the oppression that was done on African Americans, we wouldn't have heard about them back then. But there's documentation about them, which really kind of blows my mind. It was documented, but nothing in the history books. Nothing when you're going to school learning about them. But you can find the patterns in the documentation, in the the legal documents. So again, with that being said, I'm going to let Marvin again explain it. Again, he's not on video, but he's telling you the story. Take it away, Marvin. And thanks again.
Thank you, Enrico. The first person I would like to talk about is Marie Van Britten Brown. Marie Van Britten Brown, born on October 30th, 1922 and transitioned in February 2, 1999. Marie Van Britten Brown was an American nurse and innovator. In 1966, she invented a video home security system along with her husband Albert Brown, an electronics technician. In the same year, they applied for a patent for their innovative security system, which was granted in 1969. Her innovation has had a huge impact on the entire security system. Her idea has expanded beyond just security for those at home, and her ideas can be seen with security systems in businesses around the world. Brown was born in Jamaica, Queens, New York. She transitioned there at the age of 76 in 1999. Due to the fact that Marie was a nurse and her husband Albert was an electrician, they both had irregular work hours, and often their work hours would not overlap. This would lead to many nights where Marie was left alone in her home at night. The crime rate in her neighborhood was very high, and inspired by the prolonged length of time it took the police to arrive in her neighborhood. When Marie and her husband first came up with their security system, their invention consisted of 4 peepholes, a sliding camera, TV monitors, and microphones. The cameras could go from peephole to peephole. These cameras were connected to the TV monitors inside her home, and using those TV monitors, Marie could see exactly who was at her door without having to physically be at the door and without having to actually open the door. The microphones also played a vital part in her invention, as with them she could talk with whoever was outside, again without actually having to open the door and be face to face with whoever was there. As was said earlier, Marie lived in an area with high crime, and this invention she created would allow her to feel much more safe inside her home. She no longer has to open up the door to see who is there, but rather she can see from the safety of her house who is there. On August 1st, 1966, Marie and her husband submitted a patent application for her invention. It would be the first patent of its kind, and her husband's name was below hers. The patent was granted by the government on December 2nd, 1969, and 4 days later, the New York Times ran an article about her invention. Brown invented the first home security system at the age of 40 years old. Elijah J. McCoy, who was born on May 2, 1844 and transitioned October 10, 1929. Elijah J. McCoy was a Canadian-American engineer of African-American descent who invented lubrication systems for steam engines. Born free on the Ontario shore of Lake Erie to parents who fled enslavement in Kentucky, he traveled to the United States as a young child when his family returned in 1847, becoming a U.S. resident and citizen. His inventions and accomplishments were honored in 2012 when the United States Patent and Trademark Office named its first regional office, in Detroit, Michigan, the Elijah J. McCoy Midwest Regional Patent Office. When Elijah McCoy arrived in Michigan, he could find work only as a fireman and oiler at the Michigan Central Railroad. In a home-based machine shop in Ypsilanti, McCoy also did more highly skilled work, such as developing improvements and inventions. He invented an automatic lubricator for oiling the steam engines of locomotives and ships, patenting it in 1872 as Improvement in Lubricators for Steam Engines, U.S. Patent 129,843. Similar automatic oilers had been patented previously. One is the displacement lubricator, which had already attained widespread use and whose technological descendants continued to be widely used into the 20th century. Lubricators were a boon for railroads, as they enabled trains to run faster and more profitably with less need to stop for lubrication and maintenance. By 1899, the Michigan Bureau of Labor and Industrial Statistics reported that the McCoy lubricator was in use on almost all North American railroads. McCoy continued to refine his devices and design new ones, and was noted in periodicals of the time, including the Railroad Gazette. Most of his patents dealt with lubricating systems, including a further patent in 1898 which added a glass sight-feed tube to monitor the rate of lubricant delivery, U.S. Patent 614-307. After the turn of the century, he attracted notice among his black contemporaries. Booker T. Washington, in Story of the Negro, 1909, recognized him as having produced more patents than any other black inventor up to that time. This creativity gave McCoy an honored status in the black community that has persisted to this day. He continued to invent until late in life, obtaining as many as 57 patents, most related to lubrication, but others also included a folding ironing board and a lawn sprinkler. Lacking the capital with which to manufacture his lubricators in large numbers, he usually assigned his patent rights to his employers or sold them to investors. In 1920, near the end of his career, he formed the Elijah McCoy Manufacturing Company. Here is a fun fact. The expression, The real McCoy, typically meaning the real thing, has been attributed to Elijah McCoy's oil drip cup invention. One theory is that railroad engineers looking to avoid inferior copies would request it by name and inquire if a locomotive was fitted with the real McCoy system. This theory is mentioned in Elijah McCoy's biography at the National Inventors Hall of Fame. The expression, the real McCoy, was first published in Yorkville, now part of Toronto, Ontario, in 1881. Philip Emeagwali was born on 23 August 1954. Philip Emeagwali is a computer scientist originally from Nigeria. He won the 1989 Gordon Bell Prize for price performance in high-performance computing applications, in an oil reservoir modeling calculation using a novel mathematical formulation and implementation. He is known for making controversial claims about his achievements that are disputed by the scientific community. In fact, he's often called the Bill Gates of Africa. Philip Emeagwali was born on 23 August 1954. Philip Emeagwali is a computer scientist originally from Nigeria. He won the 1989 Gordon Bell Prize for price performance in high-performance computing applications, in an oil reservoir modeling calculation using a novel mathematical formulation and implementation. He is known for making controversial claims about his achievements that are disputed by the scientific community. In fact, he's often called the Bill Gates of Africa.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little history about these three individuals, these three inventors that you may or may have not known about. Again, if you're going to school in American history, you probably won't hear about these individuals. So you have to hear them outside of school. And again, this is why, honestly, when it came to history, I didn't feel any connection when I was going to school because it didn't feel like it pertained to me. I didn't have any connection, so I didn't care about it. I only cared about certain things. And as I gotten older, I wanted to learn more about African American contributions, what we did. And I hope with me putting these videos out, it'll help individuals like myself back in the day, wanting to know what African Americans did and their contributions to this society besides building and slavery and things of that nature. So with that said, thank you for watching. Ring the bell for notifications of my future videos. Hey, add a comment. Put a comment out there. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm on the right track, if this is helping you out. I hope it is. And if it is, hey, subscribe. Please subscribe. And just show me that you are liking the content. So with all that being said, again, thank you for watching. And until my next video, see ya.